Welcome back to another episode of Keoni Chats. So, if everything goes according to plan and things get released on time, this episode should be released on May 8th. The following day, May 9th, is Mother's Day, so I thought I'd do something fun and special and have my mom on as this week's guest. So, she's actually my second in-person interview that I've done. First one was with David Rodriguez, and there were still technical difficulties, and for me, when that happens, even though like the first in-person interview episode was with David, who is like a brother to me, and then second one who is with my mother, I still felt extremely stressed out. I was still trying to I was beating myself up for not understanding this ahead of time. So there was a lot of frustration on my end. Why I asked myself, why can't this work properly? What's going on? What did I do wrong? So it was very enlightening to hear how my mother also processes not the same issue, but just how she processes an issue that she doesn't know about. So, I do see a lot of when it comes to, there are different parts of me, like the fun relaxation me, and there's the working kind of grinded out me. I do see a lot of my hardworking grinding personality traits from her. So it was great to hear that and just to find out how she tackles these problems at work. And also, we did talk a little long about work, but to me, as someone that has only had maybe a year or maybe a 2-year stay at jobs here or there, for her to be at the same job for almost 30 years, that just blew my mind. So I wanted to know more about that kind of dedication and how, it's also a great story to hear how she was able to persevere and how she was able to continue pushing. So it is a lot of things. Obviously, I feel like this episode could have a 2-3-parter. And if you are a typical YouTube viewer of my episodes, this episode might be a little bit different for you because, again, with this being my second person in-house where the interview was conducted, I tried a different camera to be my camera, because the camera you are currently seeing me on, that is always pointed at the guest, because I depend on this camera. I know it'll work. So I was trying a different camera, and there are some issues where I can't get my video feed on. So you will see just a still image and maybe an audio spectrum throughout the whole interview. So unfortunately, there's not going to be a video feed for this one, but I am still going to release an episode onto YouTube where you can at least have another way to still listen to this episode and watch it. So this intro and then my 2 other plugs I usually do, those will be still video feeds, but with everything else, it's probably going to just be a still image with just the audio. So unfortunately, I know it's still a work in progress. I do want to bring people into my studio and talk with them and have interviews with them, just because I can do Zoom day in, day out, but I want to take this show on another level and have someone in-house to do this. So, there's something, again, I'm not going to overarch or over-explain the interview with my mom, but I hope everyone checks it out. It was different. It's just the whole experience was different. It was kind of thrown together last minute, but we made the best out of it. So I'm very happy about that. So the NFL draft is over. So you can check out my mock draft, my one and only mock draft from 2021 if you'd like. You just go to keoniconlu.com, KEONICONLU.com. That's also a central hub spot for all my creative content. So I do try and take some photos when I can. It's kind of I'm not searching. It's like I'm not going intentionally into the mountains to take photos. It's like if I'm going to the mountains to hike with people, then I'll bring my camera, then I'll post them. So it's one of those like situational ones. And then I do post the video content, the video version of each episode on the website as well. And all my blog material is also there. So I believe there is a place on the website where you can subscribe and to follow when I do put new material on the website, so you get a notification as well. But I do also post all over social media. when I do have new creative material to get to the people. Uh, so to stay in the loop when it does come to any kind of announcements outside of, including this episode announcement, you can follow KC Media at KC Media 13 on Instagram and Twitter, and then Conlu K Media on Facebook. So if you go to YouTube, search Keoni Chats, that is where all of the video versions of these episodes can be found. So however you are listening to this episode on whichever platform you prefer, or if you're watching on YouTube, and again, I apologize about not having an active video for this episode, but it's still a great listen. So if you are listening on YouTube, I hope you enjoy my chat with my mom, Nena Conlu. Oh my goodness, Mother Conlu. This is gonna be an interesting conversation because I don't know how it's gonna go. I don't know. We'll see how this goes.
We'll just wing it.
We'll wing it.
We'll wing it.
Exactly. So I don't know how to start this. So I usually give the topic sheet, and we have sort of a game plan. We talked that over in the drive over. It's like, this is kind of what I'll go over with you. I don't know how I'm going to segue into this, but you're my mother, so it's just going to be a fun conversation, because the time this episode gets released, the next day will be Mother's Day. For you, did you ever think, or just, how is it having a day dedicated to you?
Well, I'm a person that does not like. I don't want to be the center of attention. So, for Mother's Day, it's really meant for my mother, your Lola, not for me. But for you guys, it's my day. But I appreciate that. But I look at it, and I have been celebrating it as a day for my mother.
Yeah, it's so for those that are listening that don't know, Lola, Lola, means grandmother in Tagalog, which is our native tongue, or because there's so many dialects, right?
There are many dialects. Let's see. I speak Ilocano and Tagalog, and in Ilocano it's Lila, and in Tagalog it's Lola.
Yeah. I remember when our uncle Dado, right?
Yes.
He kept calling him not Kuya, which is what I'm used to calling, my older brother, for those listening again. For those people that, I call him Kuya. So what is the proper way from your dialect to say brother, mother, father?
Oh, okay. So let's just make it simple that for that in Tagalog, a mother is nanay. So we'll just do mother. Mother is nanay, and then Lola is grandmother. Let's see, ate is it's an older, it's someone, it's a female, someone who's female and older than you. You call that person ate. And kuya is it's the male version, of course, and that person is older than you. Or sometimes it doesn't, that person doesn't have to be older than you, but it's just out of respect you call them kuya if you don't know them yet. It's our Filipinos are so polite. It's just not right for us to call you by your first name right away. We want to to extend that respect. So, for example, if I met someone that I don't know yet, if it's a male, I would call them kuya, regardless of how old they are. It's just out of respect, or ate. So that's how. Those are the terms.
Because I was talking to, my girlfriend, and she asked, "Why do you call your older brother kuya?" As like sign of respect. So she asked, "What does the opposite mean? Like, what does the older brother call the younger brother?" Other than idiot and
Gosh,
come on now.
there's no terminology. There's no kuya. There's no uh there is no opposite of kuya. You just your brother, Jack, would just call you by your first name. So there is no terminology that I know of that would refer you as a younger person.
And so when Uncle Dado came in, and prior to that we had Uncle Noli come in, and those are the two times, at least I can remember, within the last 5 years that they've come in. Now with them, when I was living in Eugene, he was living up here in Portland. It was hard because I couldn't see him all the time.
Right.
For you to have them be different all the way, super far away, having to need a plane to get to them to come see you. What does it make you feel like?
It made me happy to see family that are that I played with when we were young. Uncle Dado and I played. We were about the same age, so it's just nice to see knowing him in the Philippines when we were young, and then meeting. We met again in Hawaii when we were about in teenager and in our 20s, and then now as adults, with families. It was just nice to. It was just thinking about all those years. It's nice to see him. It's nice to talk to him as an adult. And same with Uncle Noli. It's just nice to have your sibling, with you, and you're now talking about life. You're talking about your children. Having adult conversation, and also just being able to show Oregon to them. It was a fun. I was happy. I was happy to see them.
Yeah, I just remember that first time we went to go see Uncle Noli, because your Lolo's funeral. That was
Yes.
the first time I remember seeing him, and I remember it because I don't probably have seen him prior, like when I was a kid,
Yes.
really
Yeah.
small. Kind of hard to remember all that, but now the first time seeing him, I just remembered, dang, this guy's cool. Oh man, like he has a slick back hair. He has, just the kind of that cool Hawaiian attitude, and you're just like, oh, okay, I can hang out with this guy. So when he came in, I just remember thinking that, like, oh, he's gonna keep popping the green bottles, which that means Heineken for those curious. And he's like, oh, I want to eat some kimchi, and I'm just like, oh, this is gonna be the same guy. But then I got to see, like, you two interact with each other, sister and brother. So it's like, oh, okay. Now, when because for me and Kuya, we're starting to have those conversations, which we should have had sooner, because obviously I'm approaching 30. He's approaching 33 this year. Do you remember when it just kind of clicked? Like, oh wait, I can talk to him about these things. I could talk to my brother about, like, relationships, and I can talk to him about financing, and then my kids, and and that kind of turning point where things started to become a normal conversation when it wasn't really there at first.
Yeah, it was. I think at that moment when we started talking about families, children, problems, and then it becomes more serious it becomes more of like, okay, um, I'm having fun with my brother talking about life. And I do have friends, good friends that I talk to about, life, but talking to your sibling and him, going through the same thing is just it was just nice to it was just nice to have that support and support from your own sibling. So it was nice. It's we have I think now we have a much better relationship. We're both adults now. When I go to Hawaii, we're drinking buddies. I love that. He would. I remember. He came home and he brought a 6-pack of Heineken and he would hand me a bottle and it was just it felt so good.
So, was he the one that introduced you to drinking?
Actually, no. It's something. I think it's being living here in Oregon. I mean I've tried some beer and here and there, and by the time I went to Hawaii and I was able to sit down with my brother and be his drinking buddies, I was already drinking beer. I'm not. I was no longer a newbie to him.
So can you? I wasn't so supportive family, supportive siblings. I'm starting to get that with Kuya. With everything going on with moving and when we lived together, that was probably the most like interaction we've had because when we lived together in Eugene, it was completely different. He was providing all the money and I was just trying to go to school. You and him both emphasize like focus on your education. We'll make sure everything else is fine. I was just like, okay, that's great, but also on the inside I was just like, I feel like I was a freeloader a little bit, not to take advantage of like the generosity, but I was just like, I knew I wanted to contribute but not really contribute yet, take those steps. So feeling that growth from like that point to when we lived together this last year and a half where we do talk about finances, like, okay, I need you to give me this much, okay, I need you to help me cover this. I was like, awesome, this is great support, get to talk about things. What was their Uncle Dado, Uncle Noli, what was their like support like when you told them that you wanted to come to Oregon or leave the islands or leave the Philippines and start somewhere new?
Well, at that time, Uncle Dado was not a family that I saw on a regular basis because he lived in a different island. He lived on Maui, I believe. It was Uncle Noli who he and I were very close. We I've been friends with his wife. We've been friends since high school. So my Uncle Noli was very supportive of what I wanted to do. I'm sure it was difficult for him to see his younger sister leaving the state. But he was very supportive, and he did not stop me. He probably realized that this is my life, and this is what made me happy. So he was very supportive.
And even though like for when Kuya and I split, we finally, not like in a bad way like split,
Right.
just like we wanted to start making our own lives on our own. I was proposing the idea of like, okay, it's fine if we end up living together here in this new apartment like complex, but it's like I want you to find your own place too, because this is it's great, I live with you, but it's like in the back end I was like, oh god, I'm ready for my own, just trying to make it on my own. Did you see any of that kind of like struggle in Uncle Noli's eyes when you told him that it's like he wants to be there, but he also it's like stay please?
I did see that in him, and maybe he wanted to, but he just did not want to show that because he wanted me to be able to live what I wanted to, or to live my life, or do what I wanted to do. Um, but I know that he's always very supportive because he would call, check on us, see how we're doing. He continued to be supportive, whether we're so far away. So I still, feel that support, uh, even though we're so far away from each other. And now, we're just text message away, and he would send me text messages, and he tells me that he, just got home, and he's got beer, and it was just knowing that, we are just a text message away. It just makes me feel like, I have his support no matter the distance, and vice versa. So
So Ben Whitman, or,
Whitford, yeah,
Whitford, yeah, my former neighbor across
yeah.
the street. We grew up best friends, and then we just kind of drifted apart because just life. And then I haven't seen him or contacted him in a very long time. So it's part of me is like, okay, I feel like I should try reconnect since I'm living at Beaverton. And then but still in Beaverton, still like a driving distance. For your friendships in Hawaii, did any of those kind of fall by the wayside, or you kept them all?
Oh gosh, my friends in Hawaii, we've stayed in touch, uh, and thank goodness for reunions. We are able to see each other every 10 years, and with thank goodness for Facebook. And even before Facebook, my friends in Hawaii and I would would just call each other and see how we're doing. So we kept that connection, and more so now with Facebook and Instagram. We see each other, and then when one of them would come to Oregon, we would meet with them, and one of my friends, and vice versa. And so it's good that I'm able to do that, and they're open to continue our friendship that started when we were in high school. So
Yeah, that's with this whole podcasting, it's been fun to reconnect with people from high school, or people from college, or people from like the one time I worked at that movie theater for 3 months. But
I know
it's the hard part has always been to like maintain it. It's like trying to like, okay, do I put myself on a cycle where I can like text this person after 6 months and then check in? But it's also like, oh god, life's hard. And obviously I've known you my whole life, so I've seen your life for about 29 years, almost 30. You've always you always think about work, you're always working. But what was the work like to make that move from because you came from Philippines? You came from the Philippines. That's alone just that side closest to Asia, making that all the way to America. What kind of work was that you had to put in? What was your mindset at where you had to like, okay, made it here, gotta get to here, gotta get to here?
Let's see. Living in the Philippines, it's we our life was hard, and so unfortunately the opportunities in the Philippines is limited, still limited, because of the population. And so coming to the United States is something that would sure us, not would sure, but would give us a better life. And so at a young age, I knew that eventually I would come to the United States because of my father, your lolo. He came to the United States to find better life for him and for his family. And so when he came here, it was just a matter of years before, the children, eventually all of us will be here. And so we did. Thinking back, I left the Philippines when I was 16, but I was looking forward to come to the United States. Although I left, Lola, my mother, there, and but she was okay with it because she knew that that was a good opportunity for us to come to the United States. And when I came to the United States, I was ready to face, whatever came my way. And so I think it was my second day in the United States, or maybe my second week, enrolled in school, high school, and then just mingling with students speaking English. Well, back home, we learn how to speak English, write English, but not in a conversation. And so we can write in English, but not so much back then, conversation. But coming to the United States, I was just, throw in there and say, okay, there you go. You're in the United States, start speaking English.
Yeah, because, I've talked with David Rodriguez. He was a guest a couple episodes ago, and he talked about trying to learn English. And, this most recently, my friend Eric, he is from Guatemala, so he had trouble, jumping to class. It was such a struggle for him, but once he did, he's like, oh, thank you, Mom, because, he's able to, have a better grasp versus doing it early versus later. So, is there a word that you had the hardest time trying to pronounce?
Oh, there are a lot. The Philippines alphabet does not contain the letter F, the letter V, and so trying to, I have to remind myself to picture the spelling and pronounce it properly with an F or a P, a V or a B. and the pronouns he, she, and sometimes I would call, I would refer to someone, to a boy as a she, and vice versa.
Yeah.
So those are the things that I had to consciously tell myself to use the right pronouns, to pronounce the proper way. So those were my struggles, and sometimes I still struggle with it.
Yeah, because growing up, I remember, not the pronoun mix up, but you got the K and I mixed up all the time. I was like, Mom, come on now.
Well, I think that's every parent's challenges, to call their son with the other person's name. So
yeah, and because I remember, sports wise, there's this big family with 3 NFL stars, and then 2 of them have the same initials, or have initials for their names, so TJ and JJ.
Oh yeah.
It's like, oh man, that's gotta be tough. So, when you got to America, I remember you said that you worked at some fast food joints. To think about where you are now, 20 years with your company and doing all this time, what's what do you remember what was the silver lining out of those crappy jobs you worked coming over here?
Oh, let's see. I have been fortunate to work for good companies, and also there was just one job that I would call crappy. I did not like doing it. I work as a second job. I was a collection agent. I work in the collection department of a bank, and I had to call people about their late payments, and I did not like that. I want to say, it's a great job. It paid good as a part-time job, but then again, the the function of it, what I had to do, call people to collect money, it was not. It was not a fun thing for me. I did not like that, so I didn't last.
Keoni Chats is proudly sponsored by Vibes Training. Dylan Vibes is a good friend and former guest of the show, and after he did his time as a personal trainer for those big name fitness companies, he wanted to challenge himself and become his own man. So I wanted to show my support by giving him this platform to plug his business. Go to vibestraining.com, click on the blue button at the top of the screen, get registered, become a client of Dylan, and see that there is a way to be outside and get your workout in and still have a creative workout. Find different ways to get a sweat going while also working on your tan. It's because I love the outdoors. I guess when it comes to this time, I just yearn to do some sort of exercise outside. So I'm a big runner. So running outside when it's sunny out just, gets me itchy with joy. So if you are curious as to what kind of some of the workouts are, go to Instagram, check out Vibes Training PDX. A lot of the workouts he does is on that feed, and he's doing them himself. So it's a good little teaser to what could be. So after you are registered, he'll prompt to download the app, and then not just the depth of workouts that are provided in the app, you also have a place where you can keep track of your progress, and also have access to a community of other fitness enthusiasts that can answer your questions or celebrate your victories. So go to vibestraining.com, blue button, get registered, download the app, and get Vibes Fit today.
Last probably a year. But while I was doing that job, I was still employed full time with this other company that I've been with for 28 years. And so it's that company has been good to me. So I do my best to do what I need to do for the company.
Yeah, and over close to 30 years of dedication, that's not easy. I know you took some time away. You did something else for a little bit.
Yes.
How scary is that to step away from something you know?
It was let's see, I left the company, and at the time I wanted to know how it feels to be a full-time mom. So I left the company. I think I was only gone for 3 months. I wanted that for that 3 months, I wanted to know how it felt like to be a full-time mom, meaning that just getting up in the morning, get the kids, you guys ready, drive you to school, and participated in your extracurricular activities, volunteered in school. I wanted to know how that felt, and it was good. But the 3 month went by so quickly, and at the time I had to go back to work because we needed income and benefits. So that was the time that I left the company. And fortunately, when I needed to go back, I was able to go back to the same company. And so I was fortunate for that.
I've, in my whole time of, dating, I've never dated the same person twice. How did you go back to the same job twice? Because as a conversation can go, I feel like you're just like, oh yeah, I screwed up. Can I second chance?
Yeah. Well, it's that just tells you that the company that I'm with is they treat their employees really well. They have good people there. And so when I was ready to go back to work, they're one of the companies that I applied for, and fortunately they're the first to come to respond to my application and say, the HR person there said that I got your resume, but I know that you've worked for this team, and I reach out to the manager, and they want you back. So that was a great feeling, and I wanted to try a different position within the company, somewhere closer to where I lived. But this manager in downtown really was hoping that I would accept the position, and I even told him that one of the reasons I wanted to stay in Hillsboro was because of my parking. That I lost my parking in downtown when I quit. So he was able to
parking in downtown Portland on the streets can be close to impossible. Not
right,
as hard
right.
as like let's say New York, but it's for us Pacific Northwesterns, Oregons, it's the nightmare. So I get that.
Yeah, so it was very important for me to have a parking spot in the building downtown Portland because I wanted to be sure that I'm available when I need to take you guys to your appointments or when I needed to come home because you needed to be home. So having a parking in downtown was very important for me, and so that manager was able to give me back my parking spot with the discounted fee. So that was a plus. And so yeah, I was able to go back to the company and go back to the same job that I had.
Speaking on like someone that's only had a job for the max of like let's say 2 years, to hear when I hear let's say I'm not your son and I hear that you've been at this company for almost 30 years, immediately I'm just like, holy smokes, what? How do you? So you've jumped around too. So it's not like you've done the same thing for almost 30 years.
Right.
What is your official title now? Because I know you work with the legal analyst.
I am a legal analyst in our retirement plan division. So when I started at the company, I would say I've had 7 jobs within the company. So I moved to different position titles because I wanted to learn other jobs, and so that's how I've been with the company because I just apply for different different jobs and just to learn other functions within the company.
What's even more just impressive that you're doing legal work, so you have no education in the legals, like the law, and you never went to law school, and you're still working on going to college. What was that learning like when trying to figure that out on the job?
Well, it's I got into this position because of the prior experience that I've had, and so I was able to bring in those experience into this position, and fortunately the title is legal analyst, but I did not I don't have any proper legal education. But it's nice. It's really good to learn that aspect. I'm interested. I'm always interested how lawyers or attorneys are dealing with things. I enjoy working with our attorneys. I enjoy listening to them, and I've learned a lot from them, and so I use whatever experience I have. Apply it to my personal life, and it's just I'm really interested in what they do. So I think if I had the opportunity again, I would probably learn take law and learn the legal process in a professional way.
Yeah, and it's
it definitely can spark the curiosity and the fire when you do encounter it at work all the time. I know, like, jumping in from, printing industry, that's where I was just most recently at, and then going to financials. It's just like, still never saw I'm still having a hard time seeing myself doing this past, however long I think I'm going to be at this job. But at least it's like seeped into my brain. If I'm not like thinking about work, somehow it seeps into my brain when I'm here at home. So it's like, wait, no. I don't need to think about how much this will cost if I could put it through this system. So I can see how you could be a lawyer too, or at least work deeper into the law system. Is there something about your job right now that you like, that's making you like continue this interest or continue wanting to do it?
Yeah, it's I love the part about doing the right thing. So
Yes,
so
have
I see
preached that a lot.
so I see that when you see something in my job, when you see something, you have to say it. When you see something that you when you see something that is not working well, you 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 say something about it. Um, and one of the things that I like about my job is the again the all the what you can do, but there's some limitation based on the what can you do legally. So there's just a lot of things about my job that I like, and most importantly, I'm able to do it at home.
Because just jumping into a status like that, I feel like at first, if I was me, I would be like, what the heck am I doing? Did you have moments like that where you're like, I feel like I'm over my head? And then how did you kind of process through that? And how did you continue pushing yourself to make sure that, this company believed in me enough to have this position, so I'm going to prove that they didn't make a mistake? What'd you do, Mom?
I have a project that sort of in that situation right now. The project came about because one of my jobs, one of my responsibilities is to answer questions that come from, let's say, our account managers or relationship managers. So I happened to respond to it, and in the process of responding, I found some mistakes based on probably mixed up in our process. So I took on that responsibility of researching it because I love research, and so I was able to figure out what was wrong, and so I was able to resolve it, and then we receive another questions questions about it, and so I started looking at more of those situations, and I found additional problems, and so I took on that project and told my manager that this is what I'm doing with this, and so from just responding to a question that and then another question came in, and so it's sort of like opening a can of worms. Because of that, I started looking at other plans that may be set up incorrectly. And then I work with our system support, and I work with what I've done was I did an analysis of what happened, wrote up suggestions, and brought it up to my team and told them, here's my analysis, and from here on, I right now these are my options. These are my recommendation on how to fix it. So even though I knew that I did not have a clear picture of how I'm going to fix it, what I did was wrote up what I saw, what my interpretation and my recommendation on how to fix it, and then bring it up to my team and sort of ask them how should we proceed with this. So I thought it was over my head, but it's still over my maybe over my head. But the thing is, I had the support of my team, that it's not just me working on it. I may have been, I guess, face a roadblock. I had recommendation on how to fix it, but I wanted my team's suggestion also. So it becomes a team effort, not just that's just me doing it. I can't believe I'm sitting with you. I'm sitting with my child.
In front of 2 cameras.
Yes, talking about my life. And it's just, I mean, I was thinking, is he really sure he wanted to talk to me, his mother? I mean, really?
I mean, so far nothing embarrassing has left your mouth, which is we'll see. We still got some time. But just I'm still learning to admit when I'm wrong. I'm still learning to admit when I did something incorrect and I need to own up to it. So it's never fun to be wrong. It's never fun to admit that you're wrong. But you do feel better instead of just trying to be like, instead of trying to take blame to someone else. It's like you're taking the blame for yourself. It's like that for me at least, my chest feels lighter. So when it comes to not just work where you have to, make an analysis sheet and you have to do all these things to tackle a problem that you don't know how to tackle. How, not just that situation, but just with being a mother, how do you handle admitting when you're wrong when it comes to doing one thing or the other?
I think admitting you're wrong is part of being an adult, because I mean, as a person, I realize that, okay, as a parent, I should say, I think I've mentioned to you guys, probably not, that I may be your parent, but it doesn't mean I'm always right. I'm human. I will make mistakes, but I will learn from it. So because of that, I see myself as a human, and I have you guys, you and your brother, looking up to me. So in our process, in the process of, let's just say, this cycle, me, your mother, your parent, and you as my children, I think for us to have a better relationship, I will have to listen to you. This is what I felt. I have to listen to you, because you may have a better idea than I do. And just because I'm the parent doesn't mean I'm right all the time. And so because of that, I listen to what you have to say, and I have to treat you like not just my child, but you're a person with an idea, with ideas, like I said, that may be different from my ideas, because we're a different different generation. So because of that, I'm okay to accept when I'm wrong. And it may feel, I mean, it's hard to admit, but it feels good afterwards, because I'm being honest to myself.
For those that have been, paying attention to the show ever since way back when I started, I talked about, this relationship I was in that, coming out of college wasn't the greatest because of XYZ. If you listen, and you'll know that I felt a whole lot of emotions and feelings that, and I like to be a very happy person. I like to be a very upbeat person, and then I just felt like I was not that person in that relationship. And so, where I'm going with this, not a little tangent, but I knew that the relationship did cause a little friction between, you and Kuya, and I'm starting to. I'm not just like admitting that it was not all relationships can be difficult, but sometimes they're worth it. This one, it's like I learned a lot of things about myself during it. So I'm not gonna say like it was a mistake dating this person, but it's just like it was very much a growing moment for me. So when now that's like over 2 times over, it's like, okay. I talked to Kuya. I asked him, it's like, because he kind of pokes fun. He's like, you made this mistake, and you basically chose her over me. So I talked to him. I was like, are you really still upset about this? Like, let's talk about it. And he said, yes, he is, because it did change him. So I apologized, and he said I'm fine, but going back to like what Uncle Noli said, it's like I accept it. Still, like, you still have to do some work to repair it, but it's like I did that with KS. So it's like, okay, I know I can repair this. So I know that what I did with, how I conducted myself and how it did cause some friction between you and Kuya, so I want to get this on record that I am sorry about how that all happened, and I'm growing from that. I've, admit that the things I did were, I wouldn't say wrong completely. It's just I thought they were right at the time, but then I was persuaded to think otherwise. Again, not, I'm not gonna. It's just how it is. It's done. It's in the past. So, I want to make sure it's on record that like I never want to make you out to the villain ever. Like, and I hate that it did get to that point at one point. So, it's acknowledging that I was wrong. I was wrong to do those things, and this is me being an adult and having on my show.
Oh. It is admiring for someone to recognize that what they may have done was not right, but at that moment, like what you said, it was right, and that's what made you happy. We, as your family, I mean, we could not say that this is what's right for you. It's I think at that moment we were trying to protect you, but you are becoming you, and you know that this is what makes you happy, and so you do that. And so in our eyes, it was, no, that's not what you want. We want you to do. But it is not our life. It is your life, and you had to do, you were you stood up for it. That's what you wanted, and so we respected that, and so it's a learning. It is, like as they said, it is what it is, but you learn from it, so it's making you a better person. Those experiences make you a better person.
So where did this like innate ability to want to support? Is it just because you're a parent, or is this because how Lola raised you, or where did it come from to be this supportive?
I think it's number one. I think being a parent, it makes you do things that you've never done before, because because as a sibling or a sibling to someone, it's different. But when you are a parent, you, yes, this is me speaking. um, I do everything that I can for my children, and I'm sure parents are the same way. But I think number one, being a parent, and then number two, it's probably the culture as well. I've seen my family help other families. I've seen my mother help others. And so it's just, you see the good thing about that. And yeah, that, as a parent, it became, to me, it just became natural to be supportive, supportive. And so that's where it is. It's just a mixture of who you are, the people around you, and what makes you feel good, and knowing. I mean, I grew up with nothing, and so it was just, I know how that feels, and I'm just happy to be able to help my children whenever I'm needed.
And I just, it's seeped into me to a strong degree, and then it seeped into Kuya too, because I know he's he was supporting me through college, and he supported me maybe a little bit after he graduated too, because not just that he had a good paying job, it's just that I mean, he's hard to get emotions out of. So I like to think that he just wanted to make sure younger brother is going to be okay. So
Yeah,
it's like,
yeah.
okay, great. Now I'm that's always been me as well. Not just my current relationship where I'm trying to be supportive, is just like at work, where it's like someone's saying, oh, I was sick last week, I'm having a hard time. It's like, okay, well, I work closely with this person. I'm like, okay, well, let me know what I can do to help. And I help. I just want to be that person that can jump around from A to B, C, because that's how I feel like you and Dad raised Kay and I, is just to always lend a helping hand.
Yeah, it feels good to be able to do something, and for example, for you it may be a small thing, but for someone else it's a big deal. So being able to do something that is just nothing to you, and it makes a big difference to someone, it just feels good. It just feels good. So, and I'm glad that you are who you are.
And it's being supportive, and then also knowing when to kind of take a step back. Not trying not to be.
That's a hard part as a
That's the
parent.
hard part.
But I get the hint sometimes.
So right, we're currently tail end of COVID. I guess not really tail end. It's just that it's getting better managed. Vaccines are more prominent, or just more available, because I've had both. You've had one, going on two at the time of this recording. So how was it trying to not help during that time, as far as like cook food for Kay and I when we lived together, or help with moving with to a bigger degree, because you did help with moving. So how was it trying to fight that temptation to like jump in and get to the front lines and provide support?
It was hard. It was hard because I felt like I wasn't being me. I felt like I was being selfish with my time because I couldn't do these things for you guys. I know that Kuya would say something about, oh, I'm craving for. He would mention a dish that he's craving for, and I wanted so much to make for him, but I was fighting this this temptation because because of COVID. And although I know there's not there's no scientific evidence that you could pass on virus through food, but at the same time, I still am, very, careful about this, because it's a very serious thing, and the sacrifice that we were doing would be worth it in the long run. So
Keoni Chats is probably sponsored by Cove Hard Yerba Mate. Josh Meckler is a good friend and former guest of the show, and following his episode, I wanted to try yerba mate. I saw the yellow can everywhere that said yerba mate, and after I tried it, I was like, okay, I understand the craze about it. So a little bit later, after his episode was released, Josh was very kind enough to send me a pack of 24 cans just to sample his product and give some out to some friends. And it included all 4 flavors: the lemonade flavor, a berry flavor, a mojito, and a mango colada. So I love all 4 flavors. At first, it was the berry, and then the mojito, and then the mango colada was a little bit towards the tail end. But then I tried mango colada again, and it was just like perfect. I love them all. So if you're interested in trying some of Josh's products, you go to hardyerba.mate.com, HARDYERBAMATE.com. Scroll around, see some of the options that he has available, whether it's just a single flavor or if you want to try all 4 flavors. He also has some apparel, so shirts, hats, I believe. So make a cart, and before you check out, use the discount code Keoni Chats Cove, KEONICHATS KOVE for 25% off your total purchase. That's insane, because I've said this before in numerous episodes prior, was that 25%. That's huge. So giant thank you to Josh and the people at Cove. Yeah, go to hardyerba.mate.com, use a discount code Keoni Chats Cove, KEONICHATS KOVE, and you have to be 21 and older to purchase any alcohol from Josh and Cove, and please enjoy responsibly.
So yeah, it was hard to fight the urge to make food for you guys and for Lola, especially for her. But I just had to tell myself, just be patient. They understand, and it's just, again, it was difficult, but it was the right thing to do.
Yeah, and I remember early on, everyone. I guess this would be like February, March 2020 when things are getting rolled out. Obviously, it was not the greatest idea to do things, but I was still in the office, and then Kuya was, I think he was working from home at that point, but he kept asking, "What if? What if? What if? What if?" Again, people of the show, they know that how growing up, how you always told me to think of what if. They create a little bit of an anxiety for me. So, I mean, I've told you. Well, if I haven't, here you go. So, did you create that what if idea because of your work, or was it just because you just how you are?
That what if idea came to me. Oh, let's say as a parent, because. I mean, because of experience, I would like the idea of having a plan A and plan B, because that just creates less stress overall. So that's why I have a plan A and plan B, which translates to, I guess, what if a situation. So I mean, it may sound negative, but to me it makes sense for me to have what would I do if here's my plan. What happens if this plan A fails? So I need to have a plan B, plan C. So that's what I always that's what I I guess I share with you guys on how to handle your life.
Part of me is like, I do appreciate that you've given Kuya and I that mindset, and part of me is also like, I kind of want to be random. What do you do to be random, Mom?
Gosh, I guess when I become, feeling spontaneous, I guess, um, I I I see the result. I would be, for example, I'm at a store and say, "Oh, I've always wanted this." I go, "Oh, I'm gonna buy it," and then I go home like, you know, it's the whatever I bought is losing the value to me because I got it just like that. I didn't even think about it. I didn't put a lot of thought to it. So it loses the meaning. So that's why when I want something, it takes me a long time to actually buy it or do something because I have to think about the pros and cons and of what I'm about to do. But so it is being spontaneous or just do things randomly. It's fun. It's fun. Some I've done probably rare things that are like that, and it's fun, and it's just something that you do outside your normal things. So as long as I guess it's as long as it's safe for you, you're not hurting anybody, go for it.
It's always been like those first 2-3 steps. Like for this podcast, it was like, okay, I knew I wanted to do this. I have the camera in front of my computer. How do I do this now? Do I do this then? It's I think I do this now. Okay, let's go. And then once I finally take that first step, I gotta hype myself up a lot before I can officially go. Now, what's your process like? Let's say, because your current partner, he is a very, he does a lot of odds and ends, a lot of different things that you're probably not used to. So when he's like, oh, let's, I think you've said that you've driven to the beach randomly with him, out of the blue. Now, like, what do you first start thinking when he's like randomly jumping trips on you?
Well, it would be like uh it's I look at it. I have to consciously tell myself, okay, this is a good thing. Random, spontaneous is good. But then I think about, okay, okay, do I have projects to do at home, or do I have any deadlines that I should be doing rather than driving to the beach? So I think now that I'm older, I could go with it, because of there are no there are no for example, we could do things without thinking about, okay, who's gonna feed the dogs or the cats, things like that. There's not really a lot of things that should stop me from just going with the flow or be spontaneous. um but then there are times that I want to make sure that before we do things like that, Lola's taken care of. She doesn't need me. You guys don't need me. So I think about those things. I know you or your brother are adults now. You're no longer kids that need me. But at the same time, I just want to make sure that they don't need me. That there's no urgent need for me to be around. That I can, I can go anywhere, and just focus on going to the beach rather than thinking about my family.
Yeah, and ever since Lola came from Philippines over here, you've always looked out for her. I remember we no, not the greatest situation where we put her in the back room of the house we lived in Beaverton, Oregon, but she was able to find her own place. She's living semi on her own. She has a roommate, and then every so often, you become a caretaker for her. Going with her to doctor's appointments and going with her to walks, and also make sure she's still getting her exercise in. Now, I love Lola to death, and I love you to death, but sometimes are you ever just like, I need a break. I just need to not. I assume Lola's gonna be fine. I just need to not. How do you have those moments at all, or you?
Yes, I have those moments. But at the same time, I know that if I sort of ignore it, I would regret it. So and that's just me.
And I'm not saying people are listening or watching that, hey, just ignore Lola. I'm just saying that's a lot of like energy. It's a lot of like mental power and physical power to, always just make sure. I mean, I'll do it. Kay and I will do that for you when we get to that point. But how do you live your life and then also make sure that Lola is taken care of? Obviously, you don't have to worry about Kay and I as much as anymore because we are both sustaining financially and whatnot. So how do you live your life knowing that Lola still needs, with that thought in the back of your head of like, gotta make sure Lola's okay?
Yeah. Well, there was a point in my life when you and your brother are able to live on your own. I asked myself, okay, I've raised 2 children. What's next? So I see Lola. You and your brother are becoming responsible adult. But then again, I have a mother who is now needing help. So I remember telling myself that this is my time to take care of my mother.
Oh, okay.
So ever since then, it's probably been 10 years now. Ever since then, I've dedicated myself to make sure that I go to every Lola's every appointment, that I'm there. So and I'm fortunate that my work allows me to have that flexibility, because I it's I'm the only I'm the only child here now, and so I need to. It's my turn to take care of her. So I've raised 2 children, and I still have energy. So I told myself it's time for me to take care of my mother, and make sure that she is happy and healthy, and be able to have a friend in me.
That is from Toy Story, which is a Disney movie, Pixar movie
Disney.
that I absolutely loved growing up. So nice usage.
Yes,
Very well done.
Yeah, it's we text each other every day. In the morning, we say good morning to each other. She's probably the last person I send text message to at night, saying good night to her. We text message each other in between, just check, asking how she's doing, what's her lunch, and all that. So I want to make sure that even though we don't live together, that I'm still around.
Yeah.
So whenever she needs me, I'm just a text message away or phone call away. And so it's just again, going back to your question, it is I've told myself that it is time for me to take care of my mother.
Yeah.
So.
And you have been also, but even prior to COVID, you've always been eager to take care of yourself by going to the gym, working out, and I just remember training you a couple times. You know, it was a lot of fun because I was just like, oh, developed all this knowledge of working out through high school football, and then also through just my own experiences of going to the gym like in college. So I was like, okay, cool. I'm gonna turn my mom to like the next WWE, women's wrestler. But
Didn't happen.
it didn't happen. We tried. Now, that switch of like, you take care of Lola. Now, Kuya and I take care of you one way or another, whether it is, us, me taking you to the gym, or, Kuya taking you to go
Concerts.
see. Yeah, exactly. Or go see the cats
Mm-hmm.
and whatnot. What, if I haven't had those moments where, like, I guess, financially, I was like, okay, I'm going to buy my mom dinner. I'm going to, do this. But there are times I'm like, the times I did buy you lunch, for example, I can't remember anyone on the top of my head, but I just remember feeling like that was pretty awesome. That was pretty awesome. Now, what is that like to, have your kids that you've, see growing up now wanting to do stuff for you?
It feels great. It feels great. It's like, this is having your children do something for you is like it's I think, not that I'm talking to you, but it's an amazing feeling, and that is the fun part about being a parent, is to receive these gifts from your children. When you were young, you would give me your artwork, but now as an adult, you guys would buy me shoes and stuff at Nike, which is, it's fun. You dress me up, which is fun. I love that. For me, that's one of the best things about a parent, is when your children are doing things for you. It's a great feeling. I don't tell you enough, but not that now that you're grown up, when you ask to, hey mom, let's do this, I would drop everything.
Oh.
I would drop everything just to be with you guys, because I want to be able to spend as much time as I can, as long as you guys want me. Because pretty soon, you may have, you'll have your own family, and that they will be your priority. I would still be your priority, but having your own family, it's a different priority. So now that I still can, when you ask me to do something, let's, like Kuya, he would ask me, let's go to a concert, see, this artist. I'm like, sure, let's do it, because I want to experience those moments. It's hanging out with your kids. It's one of the greatest feelings.
Being a guest on one of your son's podcasts.
Yes, exactly. It's like, like, seriously, you really want to talk to your mom in front of everyone. So it's amazing. I'm not saying this because you're in front of me. It's just, this is just how I feel as a parent.
Yeah.
And I'm sure when you become a parent, you'll hopefully you'll remember what I'm saying, that it's
been documented now forever.
Huh?
It's documented forever.
Right, it's documented. You have a different the feeling is different when you are a parent. So that's why you see things that I do and your dad do for you guys. And so it's again, it's just wonderful to be able to hang out with your children, your adult children, be able to go to concerts, be able to do happy hour, have a drink with your children. It's like having, you have a child, and then you also have friends. So
yeah, I remember we had our first happy hour together. I don't know how, but maybe it was just the alcohol. There's just, I at that time, I wasn't that great about opening up, but just food, alcohol.
Yeah.
I'm just like, and it's all out.
Yeah, and the thing is, when you were young, we would do dates. We would go on ice cream dates, individually. And so I wanted to continue that. So when you were old enough, we were able to do happy hour, have alcohol, and we just talk about life, and it's nice. It's fun to be able to talk to your child on a different level, because you talk about life now, not just toy or food.
Yeah. Now the world is so different now than when you came to America. Obviously social media is such a big thing, and you are becoming pretty active. Because even I remember a conversation I had with David Rodriguez. He just said, "Dude, your mom's becoming a social media influencer because she's just posting so much."
Oh, really?
Yeah. Now, we talked about that on the drive over about social media and how important it's been to you. Now, how do you feel when just putting something out there in the world that you've accomplished, whether it's gardening or just your day, and knowing that people back home that do follow you, either in Hawaii or in the Philippines, they see you. How do you feel when you're like, okay, now that I've posted this, how do you feel about that?
Let's see, history. I did not plan on having this account until my cousin encouraged me to, so that we could keep up with relatives back home in the Philippines. And so I thought about it, and so I decided to do that. And my intention has been to post things that I'm doing here, so that my relatives can see me, and most importantly, so that my relatives back home and in Hawaii see my Lola, my mother. So that was my intention, and that's why before I post something, I think about who would see it. I'm very careful about posting something, but sometimes just get a wild hair and just post something fun.
Are you ready to get your episode posted 3 times in the upcoming week?
3 times?
Yeah. You're going to get posted about 3 times. Are you ready
Can
for
I
that?
watch it first before you?
Yeah, it's just the process.
We'll write up a contract, making sure that I watch it and I edit it according to my
to your
yeah.
attorney
before you post it. That's gonna be wow, that's gonna be interesting.
I mean, it's I figured that out when I guess kind of quarter of the way towards this episode number. It was just like, okay, I feel like people miss out on the first posting, so I gotta do it 3 other times to at least give them a constant reminder, like, hey, this episode with my mom got posted on Sunday. Check it out.
Oh,
This, mm-hmm. And then hopefully viewership numbers go up. Fingers crossed. At least back end of my mind how that's I think I want to work. Who knows?
Yeah.
Who knows?
We'll see.
We'll see. And this is definitely could go on for a very long time, but you and I are both having our stomachs growl at the moment. I can feel it. Mom, before we kind of hit towards the tail end of our conversation today, when it comes to what kind of legacy do you want to leave behind? I mean, not thinking like, your time is coming soon, but it's just like, I always think about, the things I do, like what's the ripple effect? How long or how much do I do that will cause more chain reactions? You know, how great do I want to be because of my actions? And or how little do I want to be? So for you, what kind of legacy do you want to leave behind? Once your time has moved on, which is a little grim. I know, guys. I know. But
Guys, I never thought about that because I've just been, I feel like I've just been busy with, your work and also, just being there for Lola and for you guys. I guess see the legacy would be not nothing too flashy. I would just it would just be hoping that what I do is you would see whatever I do, you'd see it as a positive thing for you guys to follow or to like again, like I've never thought about these things, but it's just being me, helping out families whenever I can, and just be just be kind to people. Nothing, just very simple.
yeah, and I think if I were to think about it, it's I'm the way I am, the supportive, and always wanting to go help out just because of what you've installed in Kuya and I. So I think to some degree that's your legacy, just how Kuya and I conduct each other
Yeah,
or conduct ourselves.
Well, thank you. That would be that would be it would be a very appreciative. It would be I guess seeing that in your children, it would be I would be very happy, and I do see that in you guys, and I'm happy for who you are, what you've become, and then I that this is who you are, and it's good to see that.
Okay, Mom. So you have listened or watched all of my episodes. You will be episode, I believe, 47.
I'm number 47.
I believe you're 47. You could be 46, 46, 47. One of those two. So you know how I like to end my episodes with the hypothetical questions. So for you, number one, if you were reincarnated as an animal based on your personality, what animal do you think you would come back as?
Oh no. Oh my God.
Take your time.
That's a good question. You know, oh gosh. When you were growing up, you've had some allergies, and I've always asked you, to stay away from cats and dogs, and having pets was out of the question. And then you came home with cat, and now surrounded, having my life spent with some cats and knowing their personalities. I admire that in them. I admire, excuse me. I admire how Quinn is. He plays hard to get, but then he wants you to play with him. I mean, I'm not saying that I'd like to be like that way, but I think what I like about cat is that they are low maintenance, which I am, I think. Low maintenance, and they just provide this this help to human, and I'm sure other animals are like that too. But my experience with the cats, Quinn and Cassidy, they, especially Quinn, because we lived together for 4 years. Just coming home to Quinn, and opening the door, looking at him, it just helps me. It relaxes me, and that's the feeling that I get from the cats. And if I were to reincarnate, then I would like to be a cat, because I want to stay low maintenance and just be happy being home, providing happiness to human. So
Yeah. You know, I haven't thought about that too much either, just because, I don't see many animals outside of the cats. I get to see a dog once in a while, like David's dog. But I think what would be fun is because like I do run a lot, or a fair amount, and then it is a relative to Quinn. Like, what if a cheetah?
yeah,
I have a cheetah shirt, so it's like might as well just roll into it.
yeah. And the thing is, it's I also like to be outdoors, so I would I could have said bird, but then again, I don't want to be outside all the time.
Yeah.
So it's hard, and because I've just been hanging out with some cats, I feel like I like their personality.
Okay, Mom. So, what kind of business? No, actually, there's another one.
Where do you get your questions, by the way?
Oh, I got it from work. It was supposed to be for like the newsletter. I was gonna ask like 3 questions, but that kind of simmered out. So I was like, I'm gonna take this home.
Oh, okay. All right.
If you can make one thing that is now illegal, and then vice versa, so something illegal to legal, what would it be? What laws would you change? Wait a minute. Let me try again. If you can, that makes sense. Okay, so one thing that is legal, illegal, and then one thing illegal to legal. So basically,
the opposite.
Okay, yeah.
Oh gosh, I don't want to be political.
It could be something silly.
Something silly. Something silly. Gosh, I can't think of any.
I guess to me to answer that question first while I think about it, I don't like it when people don't use their blinkers. When I was driving, I was thinking like, oh, what if the lane markers had like electricity fence, and the only way to get through the electricity fence is to turn your blinker. So I would make it so like there's a way you have to use it, because it's like, why is it so hard to use a blinker?
So now that you're saying that, I'm thinking about all my pet peeves. But then again,
there you go. That could be what's illegal now and illegal.
See, the thing is, interesting, because I work with attorneys with legal, but then I can't come up with an answer to your question. So I guess there's just so many.
What is one of your pet peeves then?
Yeah.
Let's just use that for example.
Well, one of my pet peeves is bad customer service.
Yeah, that's true.
So
that would be your legal.
That would be it. Would be. Gosh, I as an analyst, I would probably come up with requirements on what you need to do to provide good service. And if you're not providing that,
you're done. You're done.
I've just been, it's just one of my pet peeves, I guess. Again, is receiving a bad service.
Yeah.
And so I know it's not, you can't make that illegal, but
in this hypothetical world,
in this to answer that questions, that would probably, I would gladly help out to write up an article, or write up requirements on what you need to provide to equate to a good service, or what consider as bad customer service that would be illegal.
There you go. So, Mom, you can plug your Instagram if you want, but if you don't want to, people can reach out to her by messaging me at KCmedia13 on Instagram, and I'll pass the message on to her. And so you can either send a message to my mom through that account, or you can just also do Keoni Conlu 13. That's my personal one. So either way, people want to talk to my mom,
Go through my son.
Yeah, go through me first, guys.
Yep.
Thank you so much for sticking around until the end of the episode. If you like what you heard or watch and would like more episodes from Keoni Chats, the show can be found on all podcast platforms and YouTube under Keoni Chats. If you want to keep in the loop on other creative content releases, you can follow KC Media on Instagram and Twitter under KC Media 13. And then on Facebook, it'll be under Conlu K Media. So if you'd like to be a guest, email me at kcmedia13@yahoo.com. Tell me your story. I'd love to get you on the show. So until the next episode, everyone, please take care.